My name is Trey, and I want to share my 2 cents on why your credit is so important and how to track your FICO scores from all three bureaus. So to help us better understand how your credit works, I'm going to break it down into 3 simple questions. What is credit? Who cares about it? And why you should too. So first, what is credit? So your credit is either a report or a score that is based on your financial profile. Think of it like a resume of your financial history, as well as a snapshot of your current financial situation. So now I want to talk about who actually keeps track of your credit. Currently, there are 3 credit bureaus: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Each of these bureaus receive reports from banks and financial institutions that you currently have credit with. They would report anything from student loans to mortgages to credit cards, anything that is debt in your name. They compile all this information into their version of their credit report, and then that is used to calculate credit scores. So in other words, you have 3 credit reports that are used to calculate 3 separate scores. So next I want to talk about who actually checks these reports. And the simple answer is that anyone that you have a financial relationship with is checking these credit reports. This includes banks, employers, landlords, insurance companies. They all check your credit to evaluate your risk to them. So now, why should you care? Well, to put it simply, according to many studies, the higher your credit score, the more likely you are to be wealthy in the future. I see this to be true mostly because every big financial situation in your life will be reliant somewhat on your credit. And it will be a factor in the eventual outcome of the situation. The better the credit, the most likely the better the outcome. The simplest example of how credit will improve your financial well-being in the future is that if you have better credit, you'll get better interest rates, and that will save you money. A few more examples are like having more loan options. This includes everything from a car to a mortgage to a small business loan or to low interest personal loans. These are all options that are available to people with good credit, and someone that has bad credit would not be able to get these loans. Another kind of unknown benefit of having good credit is that when you go to apply to a job, most employers will pull your credit. I believe they do this because it's kind of a metric of your worthiness of trust, and that they will probably not use it as a 1 or 2 highest factors in hiring someone, but it definitely will come into account if 2 people were close. So having better credit may land you that better job. Another benefit that I came across recently was that when you go to apply for a rental house or an apartment, almost every landlord or management company, when you apply to the house or apartment, they will ask to do a credit check. And again, they're looking at this as, are you trustworthy? Are you going to pay on time? And that if you have bad credit, you will not get chosen. If you have good credit, you maybe move to the top of the list. And then recently, when I got this place that I'm currently in, the market was very competitive and you were lucky to get anything. And so when I applied here, having good credit, I think helped me get it. And it's one of the biggest benefits of having good credit, especially now. Finally, one of the more attractive parts of having good credit is that you'll have access to better credit cards that have better rewards from more generous credit card lenders. This includes the likes of Amex and Chase and a few others, but having these credit cards will allow you to earn hundreds of dollars in rewards with just spending. And the only way you can get them is to have good credit to start with. So now I hope you understand how important your credit is. And now I want to move into how to manage it, how to track it, and how to optimize it, as well as how to keep track to make sure that there's no fraud on your credit. So first, let's talk about credit scores. The simple explanation of what a credit score is, it's a grade on a numerical scale of your credit report. There are different scoring models that all kind of take weights of different parts of your credit report differently, but we're going to focus on FICO scores in this video and kind of leave out the other scoring models like Vantage and a few others. But we're going to focus on FICO scores because that is what the banks and lenders use right now and have used in the past. So let's talk about tracking your credit, scores, and reports. So there are so many apps out there that track your scores, but they always use Vantage scores. So I want to talk about the apps that actually use FICO scores. There aren't many, so it'll be short and quick. So again, each bureau has their own report, so they have their own scores. So we need an app that will track each score from each bureau. So to get our FICO score from Experian, it's so simple. You get the Experian app, you make an account, you don't pay, you just get their free version. They give you your Experian score as well as your Experian report. It's a great app. I use it all the time to track my score and to keep tabs on my credit report. And I suggest that everyone get this. Next is Equifax. Equifax you can actually get for free on the MyFICO app. You can download it, again, get the free version. There is a paid, so make sure you're just doing the free plan. It'll get you the Equifax FICO score and it'll get you your Equifax credit report. Now, it only gives it to you once per month, so that is kind of a drawback rather than updating as you get credit reports in from your banks every couple weeks. And since credit cards and banks report at different days during the month, you kind of have a lag, if that makes sense, on your credit report. The reason I bring this up is that later in the video, I'm going to talk about how I manage my credit report from Equifax, and it's not through the MyFICO app for this reason. So finally, we have TransUnion. So currently there's no free, no barrier of entry way to actually track your FICO score from TransUnion. And it's kind of a bummer. There used to be a way through Discover to do it, but Discover put basically a barrier of entry, which means you had to have a credit card with them to use it. So that's really the only way is through Discover. And then Barclays, apparently also, if you have a credit card through them, you can view your TransUnion FICO score. But currently I have neither. So I can't actually right now track my TransUnion credit score for free. But hopefully soon there will be. And if there is, I'll add it in the description of this video and I'll add a pop-up right now. But currently there is not. So now that we have those two apps to actually track our scores, now we're going to get an app to track our reports for TransUnion and Equifax, since we're using Experian already. So I've gotten pretty much every app that you can think of, anything from credit.com, the TransUnion app, UpCredit, Credit Sesame, my banking apps. I mean, just so many different apps I've tried, and really I've kind of made my decision of which I'm going to use. So like I said, from my experience, the best app by far to do credit report tracking, and this is just to manage and do disputes, is Credit Karma. So to explain why I actually use Credit Karma, I'm gonna walk you through my credit tracking setup. So like I said, I already have the Experian app, the MyFICO app, and then I'm gonna do the Credit Karma app. So it's a 3-app setup. So now I know Credit Karma uses Vantage scores, but we're actually not gonna look at the scores from Credit Karma at face value. We're gonna keep our FICO scores separate. And so those are the scores that we're actually looking at. We're just using Credit Karma to manage our reports, as it is a great app with good notifications, good actual historical tracking, as well as having just a very user interface that's very positive to use. I have no complaints about it. So for me, I use Experian for my Experian FICO score. I use MyFICO for the Equifax FICO score. And then for TransUnion, I currently can't see it, like I said. And then for the reports, I use Equifax to track my Equifax credit report. And then I use Credit Karma to track Experian and TransUnion. So again, don't look at Credit Karma for these scores, as Vantage scores are not used by any banks and they're just not actual indicative of what your actual credit score is. But rather, what I do right now is to kind of estimate my TransUnion score, is that I'll take my Equifax score from MyFICO, and then I'll take my credit scores from Credit Karma and compare them. And if my Equifax score is equal to my TransUnion score on my Credit Karma app, then that means my TransUnion score is probably similar to my Equifax score from MyFICO. So kind of using those comparisons with the Equifax data, I'm able to estimate my TransUnion score. So that's what I currently do. But later down the line, I want to get a Discover card so that I can just actually view my FICO score. But right now, obviously, I cannot. So how often should you be checking your credit score and credit report? The simple answer is monthly. This is because since your credit cards report monthly, every month, if you check it on the same day, everything will have updated since the last month. That's kind of a good rule of thumb, but I also would set up notifications for any hard inquiries or any just big changes to your credit report or credit score, just so you can keep tabs on it. So if something does go awry, you can address it. And like I said, on the Credit Karma app, you can do disputes on Equifax and TransUnion. And then on the Experian app, you can do it on their app as well for Experian. So that's kind of a perfect segue into my next question is, should you freeze your credit? And the simple answer is yes. It's not hard, and it will protect you and save you from a big headache later down the line if something does go awry. So you can literally go to Equifax's website, Experian's website, and TransUnion website and just make an account, freeze your credit. It's that simple. And then when you want to use your credit, you go online, you unfreeze, you use it. After it's been processed and you've been approved for a credit card or whatever loan you want, go back in, freeze it again. This will save you such a big headache in the future, and you will thank me, I promise you. I hope all this information has been helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. It helps a lot. If you have any questions, again, leave them in the comments. I'm gonna leave my referral links in the description for all the credit cards I have. If you use them, that's a huge help to the channel, but there's no obligation to. But please make sure they're competitive before you use them. Check the public offers, check mine, make sure they're the same. And always, thanks for watching. That has been my 2 cents.